Welcome. How are you doing today? Welcome back to my bathroom where I have to lean down to get in the frame. I was just watching Repzion. He posted a video, like an hour and a half long video, covering like Gabby Hanna's history of the destructive and mean shit. And something that's like, people have so many different opinions on this, but Gabby Hanna telling Jason Nash when he started sleeping with Trisha Paytas that, hey, I heard from their friend that she has herpes, be careful, and is like, oh, I was just looking out for a friend. And it's like, there are people who are like, yeah, you should totally tell your friend that you heard something about someone else's sexual health. Hear me out. If someone is capable of talking to their friend about having an STD, then that means they're perfectly capable of telling their own sexual partners if they have an STD. And I just don't think that it's anybody else's business to disclose, you know? Speaking of talking about other people's bodies, I don't like it. My mom can't help herself. She talks about people's bodies. I have asked her to stop. I have told her to stop. I have demanded that she stop. I have told her it is rude. It's not okay. And I had to go back and look in my text messages just to see how recent this was. But I think it was like 3 weeks ago. It was within 30 days that I in a text message to my mom about how I wasn't doing well, I told her that my body dysmorphia has been really bad and that I can't look at myself in the mirror from the shoulders down. And she was like, oh, well, you know, I'm always here, but it's like, I know I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm using baby wipes on my feet because my floors are dirty. Which is probably more embarrassing than wiping my butt on camera. It just frustrates me when you tell people these things and they're like, oh, I'm here. But then, like, they aren't. They don't absorb any of the stuff that you tell them. They just want to feel like they said the right thing. I went to dinner the other night with my family to meet my sister's fiance's family. And this is a weird thing I do. I put rubbing alcohol on my feet before I put shoes on. It's supposed to help them not sweat and smell. I had asked my sister's fiance's mom if she wanted to split a salad with me. We had both ordered entrees, and I wanted a salad because I feel like I digest food better if I eat a salad with it. But I'd already ordered like a sizable entree, and so like I didn't really need like an entire salad to myself. She said she's fine with just the food that she ordered. She had a big breakfast and a big lunch, so she wasn't even really that hungry, and she was trying to, you know, keep it pretty low key at dinner. And I was like, that's understandable. And I honestly, I don't know if I said anything to like warrant this comment from my mom, but my mom like pointed at me, looking at the fiance's mom, and said, look how little she is. It made me uncomfortable that my mom would suddenly just point out my body as if it's something that she's like proud of or like I accomplished something. And it made me uncomfortable because like I was not always small, and so I felt it necessary to point out like to the fiance's mom, like, no, I wasn't always this way. I used to weigh about 100 pounds more. And she was like, oh, really? And before any further conversation could be had, my mom goes, she's vegetarian, as if that is solely responsible for the weight that I've lost or keeping it off. And it just, I don't know, maybe I'm just overreacting because I'm hypersensitive to the way my mom talks about people's bodies. But it just bothers me because I've there was no reason for that. Especially when I've told her I'm having a hard time. I don't know, maybe I'm just fucking tripping and I'm overly sensitive to things that my mom says and does, but I just feel like last week I got set off because my boyfriend was doing something and I was like, drop it, stop it, leave it alone, and he would not until I snapped and started yelling, stop it right now, shut the fuck up. And I ended up feeling a type of way that was not a common feeling for me. And when I started feeling that way, it's like this upset that like consumes the entirety of my body, and it feels out of control and it hurts and it feels like I'm going to explode because something needs to stop and it won't. So feeling that way sent all of these memories of other times that I felt that way just like flooding into the forefront of my mind, and like those situations were all very traumatic. So I was like not okay. And the only thing I can think is that like it's the relentlessness. It's like asking and begging and then demanding for someone to stop, and they won't. And I think that's a big part of why it bothers me so much that I have told my mom many times that it's not okay for her to talk about people's bodies. And it's not, I don't just tell her when it's my body. I tell her when it's other people's, like, stop it, don't do that. That was unwarranted. Nobody needs that. And that she does it anyway. It's just really, really frustrating when you say no and it's not taken as a no. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably just hypersensitive. That's gotta be it. You know, like I've spoken recently about how I realized that I was only seeing people for the worst ways that they made me feel, and because those people had made me feel bad, I could only see them as bad. Long sleeves were a mistake. There were 2 trucks that I don't recognize, that I've never seen before, pulling onto my street when I was leaving, and I waved at them because I want them to know that I fucking see them. Whatever shifty things you're getting up to, good old D-Stars, keeping an eye on it. I used this clear lip liner. I've been using it for a while. I don't know if it makes a difference, to be honest, because I've been using liquid lipsticks that kind of just like dry matte, so they don't bleed like other lipsticks do. I have therapy tomorrow, and I always intend to write a list of things that I want to talk about, but then I forget to do that. I also talk to my fucking camera, and then I forget about things that I want to talk about. And even though there's a lot of things I need to talk about, I know that 45 minutes is not enough time. I'm going to see if my therapist will start seeing me every week instead of every other week. My appointments are at 4 p.m., so I don't know what that was. My appointments are at 4, so I leave work at 3. Well, my boyfriend's already home when I get home from my appointments. I've got less than 10 minutes to like change my clothes and get myself situated in the doctor's office I've created in my backyard. And a lot of times he wants to like let the dogs out to run around the yard while I'm in therapy. And I think he sort of expects me to play with them. Because, like, when he talks to people on the phone, he walks around the yard and plays with the dogs. But I'm paying for these appointments. And when I'm talking about these important things with someone who I'm paying, their profession is to help me. It's not like I'm just on the phone with a friend or a family member. It's not casual. And I only have 45 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just frustrated, and maybe he's never even doesn't realize he's doing it. Oh, I forgot my umbrella and it's gonna rain today. Dang it. I also told my mom, like, after Mother's Day weekend, after Mother's Day, and she and everybody wanted to ask me questions about boyfriend, and boyfriend didn't come. And I just kind of felt like, if he wanted to, like, speak for himself, he would have come, and he didn't come. And I know that this particular day he did have plans, but, like, he hasn't come to anything in, like, a year and a half. He hasn't come to a family thing since, I think, Thanksgiving of 2019. I don't want to answer for him, And my stepdad was like, I haven't seen him in so long. Does he look the same? I was just like, I don't know. What did he look like last time you saw him? Later on in that week after Mother's Day, like, in a conversation with my mom, I did say, like, it makes me uncomfortable that I cannot be treated as my own whole person when I come. I am here. I have arrived at the event. Part of me is not missing just because I came alone. It's just like they ask the same things every time I come to something alone, and it's like, so yeah, that's another thing that I asked my mom. It was the first time I asked, though, to be fair. I politely asked her, like, if she would, like, stop emphasizing a person who, like, wasn't there. Because if it was just like, alright, well, tell him we said hello, like, that would be fine. But, like, questions from my mom, my stepdad, and my grandmom about him, it's like, I don't know, dude. I'm here. Is that unreasonable? It's probably unreasonable because I'm just so fucking uncomfortable all the time that, like, I'm hyper aware of things that make me more uncomfortable. Anyway, I want to thank you for listening. It's a residential neighborhood. I feel like forgiveness is very important, so I want you to forgive yourself for the time that It's a residential neighborhood! Time that you've wasted watching this video. Don't like, don't subscribe. If you do either of those two things, you're violating my consent. I want to thank you for listening. I feel like forgiveness is very important, so I want you to forgive yourself for the time that you've wasted watching this video, and have a good day.